Hi guys, welcome to Retro Media Talk Podcast. This is Steve Montgomery and Steve Lago, and today we continue our discussion on our most listened to 80s metal bands. So stick with us as we continue our conversation in part 2. Now, I hate to bring this one up because I think it's on your list. I'm sad to say it, but I'm going to have to say it. Sabotage.
No? It didn't really make my list.
Oh, okay.
Although they're one of my favorite bands of all time, but I didn't really listen to them
probably till 90.
that much. Yeah. I really didn't get the Sabotage bug. I'd heard of them, obviously, with Hall of the Mountain King, Gutter Ballet, but I didn't get the Sabotage bug until they came out with Streets, a rock opera, and then I was all in. I was all in for that album.
Yeah. I listened to them quite a bit, but I got into them more, I think, in the 90s when they got
Zach Stevens.
Yeah, when they got Zach. And that's when I really got into them. So I should have saved that for the 90s, but I don't know. I wrote them down anyway, so. That was
I initially put them on the list, and then I thought about it. I was like, well, you know what? I really didn't listen to them crazily until Streets of Rock Opera. And so that was at the tail end of...
it was hard, and that's the thing. I'm trying to... Okay, so we should clear up why we're not doing the 70s. In my opinion, I didn't want to do the 70s because I was a kid, you were a kid. We were probably listening to most stuff that was on the radio, Yeah,
in the 70s, I was listening to what my parents listened to.
Exactly. So it would make sense doing the 70s because we were just discovering music.
Yeah, I mean, I was more into toys and cartoons and riding my bike than listening to music.
Yeah, because
when you think about Sabotage, their big albums, Hall of the Mountain King was 87, Gutter Ballet was 89. So, yeah, I mean, and then, like I said, Streets was 91, and that's when I really got into them. So, yeah, they were more of a 90s thing for me.
They probably shouldn't even made my list, to be honest with you, because I really probably didn't listen to them as much as I thought till Zach Stevens. So, but
I mean,
anyway.
Gutter Ballet is awesome, and I did listen to that album back in the 80s.
I'm gonna scratch them because I listened to this band more than more than Sabotage, and that was Extreme. Now I think about it, didn't Extreme? I mean, because I really love their Porno Graffiti album. And that came out, wasn't that 80s?
That would have been, I want to say, that was 1990.
Oh, jeez.
So you fucked up twice, right? Their first album came out in 89.
Well, which one was that?
Just their self-titled, Extreme.
Oh, okay. Well, I got that one too, but yeah. Okay, scratch that one. I don't know. I'll come up with another one, I guess. Well, anyway, the other one that was on my list was Barren Cross, same one you picked. I fell in love with that band. Once I heard they were on the same label as Stryper, I gave them a shot, and totally sold on them. And so how many's that? Crap, I'm out of order. Or I didn't see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 1.
I don't know. I've lost track because you kept on scratching them off.
I know, man. Okay, here's another one. Whitesnake. I really listened to Whitesnake a lot.
Yeah, and they made my list as well. So
okay. So Whitesnake.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, when Whitesnake came out, I mean, that was all over the radio. It was all over MTV. Tawny Katane, Good Night,
Right.
But what do they have? They had Here I Go Again, Is This Love, Still the Night. They had those videos, but then the rest of the songs on that album were incredible. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and I should reiterate. I mean, there's a ton of '80s bands that were rock bands that we listened to that we're not including on this list.
Right.
I mean, Journey, stuff like that. More tamer bands. I mean, you did say Night Ranger. They're kind of in the Journey universe, but I mean, yeah, they're probably
they're heavier than Journey.
Yeah, they're probably heavier a little bit, but yeah,
they're hard rock. They're hard rock.
Yeah. Okay, so what do I got? Do I got one more? I think I don't know.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead. Since you said Queensryche, I had it on my list too. So Queensryche is on my list. Fell in love with that band. I already talked about it, so I'm not going to go into detail on that one. I'm going to throw one more out there. See if you know this one. This is late 80s. Crimson Glory.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a big fan, honestly.
Okay. I love Crimson Glory. And I remember seeing them in the record store, hanging on the wall, and I was like, oh my gosh, man, that album cover looks so good. It was Transcendence. Let me get the date correct on there. But I put them up with Queensryche. I put them.
Don't even.
Yes, I do, because he had a similar style. They sounded like Queensryche. They were the same style. But Transcendence, if you ever listen to this album, I don't know if you've ever heard it. The singer Midnight, he had a phenomenal range, really phenomenal range. But they were similar to that style of Queensryche, so I don't know. You ought to give them a shot if you haven't heard it. But Transcendence is an awesome album.
Did they wear makeup?
They had like those. Like mass or something, like half mass or whatever in the beginning. They were like, I don't know if they're like, what do you call those?
But like kabuki mask type things.
Yeah, it was something like that. I mean, I don't know, like masquerade type mask, I guess. I don't know.
They look like a bunch of goofballs.
You got to listen to them, man. I mean, sometimes bands are better just to hear than see.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, they had so many good hits on that Transcendence album. You really should check it out. But anyway, I think he died of alcoholism or something. I can't remember exactly. It was really sad though. I mean, that guy he had a lot of issues, but he was I mean, you look, I mean, he was super respected in the metal, world for being one of the top vocalists back then, hell of a range. But anyway, that was, I don't know if that's,
he had a stomach aneurysm.
Oh, is that what it was? Was it from alcohol or something? Or I don't know.
Didn't say it. Died at the age of 47 of a stomach aneurysm.
Oh, man.
And then I guess I had heard this before, but that Todd LaTorre took over for him.
But yeah, he was okay. You want an inside scoop? We were gonna tour with Crimson Glory. Actually, I tried out for a band called Eternity X, a prog metal band that was big and not big, but I mean they were kind of big in a small, like, independent space type thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, a guy came from, I think it was North Carolina. The singer who was was it North Carolina? I think it was North Carolina. Came down. We had sent him some stuff, but anyway, we had the paperwork and everything to sign with this label that Crimson Glory had just signed with. And I still got the info on what it was. We were all set to sign with this label. He had the contracts. He just needed the members. He was looking for all new members. And my other guitar player that was in Portrait Black, another like side project I was doing, Ryan Keene. But anyway, he came down. We auditioned. Blah blah blah. We were set to sign this label on this label, and we were set to possibly tour Europe with Crimson Glory. Well, Crimson Glory was out of the country, I guess, at the time. The label went bankrupt somehow. They had to pay their expenses to come back to the U.S. or something. That was the story I heard. I don't know if it's all true or not, but they went bankrupt like as soon as he left us to fly back. A few days later, we get the word. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that's that. That was a long-winded story. How many you got left?
Well, I did 10, but I think there's a couple that maybe, or there's one that you had on your list. So obviously I don't need to do that one.
Okay.
So the next one on my list, which the band you didn't listen to, obviously, was Metallica.
Oh, okay.
And I played the heck out of Metallica. I loved Metallica back in my high school days. My favorite album is Justice for All, but I loved Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All. I mean, just amazing, amazing albums. I mean, they were cutting edge back then, right? There was nobody like Metallica. I mean, they're the grandfathers of heavy metal. You know what I mean? They set the bar, and then of course they wussed out later on. But the success got to him. You know what I mean?
Well, what's crazy about Metallica? Like, whenever Hairbangers Ball came on, I mean,
Headbangers,
Hairbangers Ball, yeah,
Headbangers.
Oh, Headbangers! Oh my gosh, I said hair.
Yeah,
I meant because I'm thinking Hair Nation on Sirius XM, and then,
right.
Yeah. Headbangers Ball. Thanks for correcting me, man. But when I heard one, on Headbangers Ball, I was just like, oh my gosh, this band just is killing it. And I wanted to listen to him so bad. I mean, that was the only time I could listen to him was when I watched Headbangers Ball. But I wanted that album so bad. And obviously I finally got the Metallica albums later on in the 90s. But yeah, that was one of the taboo bands. And yeah, I mean, they were phenomenal. But the reason I bring it up is I heard their new song, just recently. What the hell's going on with that band? They just can't get back to sounding like they did on either the Black album or before,
Yeah, I mean they're old now. Yeah, they're old now. I mean, it's just I don't think they're not hungry anymore. They don't need to be. I mean, they're millionaires. The Black album was one of the greatest selling albums of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you have that and you get all of the riches that go along with that, I mean, you're not hungry anymore. You know what I mean? They just don't have it anymore. And I get it. They're old and they've made their money, and I'd just retire personally and do something different if I still wanted to play music.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, man. It's just like, come on, man. It's just
I mean, the Black album, what put them on the map, obviously mainstream, right? Well, one was the beginning of the end for them, right? Because one gave them national attention, right?
Yeah.
But I knew, even in my wisdom back then, I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is going to be good for the band or not. I just, when they started getting that notoriety, which, you want your bands you like to be successful. But Metallica had that reputation that they were like this, they almost still had this underground feel to them, and they were super heavy, and everybody wasn't into them, but there was a lot of people into them, but they were not mainstream, right? And when they moved into the mainstream with one, that was the beginning of the end for them. Of course, then when they put out the Black Album, there were some great songs on there, but I remember listening to that. They were debuting the video for Enter Sandman, and the song was cool. But I remember after the song was over, I was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I'm liking this direction that I could see them going into." And there was some good songs in there. I will say that, but after that, I mean, it was just downhill. They shit the bed. I mean, honestly, after that. But like I said, they didn't need to do anything anymore. I mean,
yeah. I mean, when the '90s hit and they tried to change their song and they cut their hair and all that crap, it just went downhill from there. It was just the snare sound was horrible on the albums. They were trying to do this garage sounding thing, I guess. That Fuel album, wasn't it Fuel or something? I don't know.
Well, they did Load and Reload. Load was bearable, but other than that, oh my God, yeah.
I just hated the drum sound. I don't know. The thing about the Black Album or the self-titled album, it was just produced so masterfully, and I think that was because Bob Rock was behind it, and he pushed him. He really pushed him to release something that was equivalent to like maybe the Thriller album. It was just so well produced, but look how many songs made the radio. You know? So I don't know, man. I don't know if it was them or Bob Rock that really had the magic on that album, but
it was definitely him, because I remember seeing a behind the scenes kind of thing, and he convinced Hetfield to actually sing, because he never really sang before,
right?
And to sing stuff like Nothing Else Matters and The Unforgiven, and he changed them. You know what I mean? And hey. I mean, he made them superstars.
Yeah, true.
But in the same way, he destroyed the band.
Yeah, they should have stayed with their sound instead of trying to go with the '90s. So I can't wait till we do the '90s, because the '90s is going to be so crazy, because I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at the bands that I actually listen to. They're totally. A lot of bands that nobody's ever heard of, because I didn't like where the '90s went.
Me either.
so
either.
I'm kind of excited about doing that one.
Yeah.
So what's your next one?
Well, the next one on the list, which you had already included, was Whitesnake, and just can't say enough about them. And obviously David Coverdale retired this year, just because he had too many health problems. So we'll never see that anymore. But one of the greatest voices in hard rock metal ever. You know what I mean? He had that bluesy, soulful voice, but he still had the power, the screams. Just an amazing singer. I love David Coverdale. And of course, there was the Whitesnake self-titled album, and then they came out with Slip of the Tongue. Yeah. Steve Vai joined the band, and that's another amazing album. And I listened to those two albums so much in the '80s.
Yes,
I loved them. I loved Whitesnake. My next.
You might as well just complete your list. So it's probably easier. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the next one is, and nobody will know who they are, but. The next band is Saint, and I
almost put that on my list, but I was like, I knew you were going to put it on there for some reason. I don't know.
Somebody at school had let me borrow, Warriors of the Sun and Time's End, and I liked those albums. I liked them, and they had a really dark sound. I'd never really heard a band like that. They, probably it was the production had a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm. Especially Warriors of the Sun was a very dark sounding album, and I really liked that album. But then Too Late for Living came out, and man, the production on that album was incredible compared to their first ones, and they had so many great songs on there. And I'd listen. That was my workout album.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Me too.
I would work out every day after school listening to Too Late for Living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Loved it.
Love that album.
That's a Christian album by the Christian band, by the way.
It kind of reminded me of Judas Priest or something like that. It kind of had that.
Yeah, he had a little tinge of Rob Halford in his style, but a great band. They're still touring without Josh Kramer, of course, but they're a great band. I love them, and it's a really good album. And it sucks about them is that it happens to a lot of bands, right, where they finally get to this point where they put out this masterful album, great production, great songs, and you're like, man, I can't wait to see what they do next.
Yeah.
And then it's nothing.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what? Is this the same band?
They disappeared. They disappeared for I don't know how many years till they came back, and it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I know.
And then, the next band on the list, and this band I did not like when I saw them on MTV. I was like, it was another issue of like the Skid Row thing. The song that they put out there as this introductory single, I was like, this song stinks. The video stinks. I don't know how I ended up getting to like them, but the next band is Warrant.
Oh, it's on my list, bro.
Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinking Rich. Yeah. It's the same thing. I think the Down Boys, that was the worst song. Why did they pick that song?
Down Boys, yes. I agree.
Obviously Heaven put them on the map of that album, but they had In the Sticks and Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinking Rich. There was so many great album, melodic album, just so many catchy songs. It's on par like with Winger as far as like a debut album. There's so many good songs on that album, and I listened to the heck out of that album, and it's amazing. It's amazing album, and I haven't listened to it in a long time. Actually, I probably will pull it out this week just to revisit it because I'd forgotten how good really that album is, and
for sure.
Janie Lane's no longer with us. He passed away. And
I think he has one of the best vocals. I mean, with all the bands that we're talking about, Janie Lane is just, I don't know, man. He was one of my favorite vocalists. Just incredible.
Yeah, he was good. I don't know if he's, but.
I don't know. I just love him. But, yeah, it's sad he's no longer with. He passed, a few years ago, right? I mean.
Man, it's been like 20 plus years.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, it hasn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let's pull it up here. Yeah, he's been.
Oh my gosh.
He's been dead.
because he was on that show, that heavy show, right? Like he lost the weight and all that stuff.
Yeah, he. All right, so I misspoke. He's been dead 12 years.
Okay.
2011.
I was gonna say, man, time really. Really
but I mean,
flies.
it's a long. I mean,
so he died of alcohol poisoning. It says. I'm just looking.
I think they found him dead in a hotel room, right? And I think I remember seeing that. There was. They said there was pills or something too next to his bed.
Oh man.
But they said, it says here acute alcohol poisoning.
Yeah. Wow. Because it's terrible. I mean.
Yeah, he was found dead in a Los Angeles motel room.
I felt bad for the guy, man, because, he gained some weight, and he was on that, I think it was Biggest Loser or one of them shows. You remember seeing that? Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I did see it. I don't think he was on The Biggest Loser, was he?
But it was one of them.
I know he was on one of those MTV Where Are They Now type shows where they were trying to resurrect washed up rock stars type of a thing, and I think he had started losing some weight and this, that, and the other.
Oh, no. I take it back. Celebrity Fit Club.
Yes. That was on MTV or VH1 or something.
It says The Biggest Loser, but it was the Celebrity Fit Club, I guess. There was a special show for celebrities. So it was part of The Biggest Loser, but it was Celebrity Fit Club, I guess. I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah, I watched that whole thing, and I felt bad for the guy. He was a really, really cool guy, and wow, to see him he was depressed over it. I mean, wouldn't you be? You come from packing out stadiums, and you're on the highest level of fame, and now you're a nobody overnight because the record industry decided they're going to go with Seattle rock. And
yeah, I remember
you guys.
I remember reading an interview with him, and he said that he had went to the headquarters, the record label. I can't remember, were they on CBS or I can't remember what label they were on, but they were the big dog, back then. And he went to go meet somebody at the record company, and when he walked into the lobby, he said there was a huge Alice in Chains poster or something in the lobby, and he said he knew then that his days were numbered.
It's sad because, we should be able to pick and vote with our dollars what we think is good music. And if we want to keep hearing hair metal, we should be able to, But no, the record companies are in control in the U.S. They decide, Well,
not anymore, they don't. But
well, they do, because there's a fantastic market for metal and hard rock, but it's all done by smaller labels now, like Frontier Records, AFM Records, a lot of overseas record labels. People buy the crap out of that.
But I think, for the most part, though, I think the record labels, the big record labels, are dead.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking like mainstream radio or this or that. They pick and choose who they want.
But unfortunately, and I always say that my perspective has changed. But when it happened, when the grunge Seattle whole alternative scene came about, it wasn't the record labels that did that. What happened was that the scene got flooded with all of these budget bands, just trying to be copies and mimics of these popular bands, and it just became a parody of the scene, and there was just so many just shitty bands out there. They ruined the scene, and so then. Not only that, people were getting tired of all these generic bands coming out. Then a new group of kids were getting to the age to listen to music, and so it was a natural progression. So really, the record companies,
what they could have done though, they could have had two genres going. Just cut the one-hit wonder bands out, whatever. You lost money on them, but keep the regular bands that people want to listen to alive and well. They tried to mold these bands, and Warrant tried to go a little alternative, and one of the everybody tried to change with the times. It's like, no, we didn't want to listen to that. We want to listen to Warrant the way it was, or Metallica, whatever it was. But everybody tried to mold that way. It's like, no, keep your sound. There's a market for that sound. You don't have to change. You can leave Nirvana fans or whatever to that genre. You guys shouldn't change. But yeah, there's so many bands that were trying to change their sound into that Seattle sound. Remember that? It was horrible. It was like, I don't know, man. It was like, it got to me. It was like, why are these guys changing their sound? It's pissing me off. But
I did like the Dog Eat Dog album, though.
Oh, but that wasn't the change. They started changing with Ultraphobic, which I actually like that album. It's different, but it's not like it's not no Seattle wanting to be album. It's just kind of an alternative. Not alternative, but it's different than Warrant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know which album I'm talking? Ultraphobic or
I have that one. It sucks. Yeah,
but it's not bad. There's some good songs on there, but
there's like two good songs on there.
But it's just not Warrant. It's just not the Warrant sound. And there were so many bands that were trying to do that. Slaughter, I think, even went did something with.
They did like some kind of like hippie type album.
It was like, come on, man, no, we don't want to hear this. But anyway, I get their point. They were trying to sell albums because the record out labels were, pissing on that type of music. Hey guys, do you like virtual instruments, sample libraries, and audio plugins? Well, I got a special coupon code for you, okay? Samples Review 5. Samples Review 5 will give you an extra 5% on the already low prices at audioplugin.deals. Now, this coupon cannot be combined with any other coupon. Don't pass this up, guys. This is an awesome offer. 5 review at checkout. So Samples 5 review at checkout and get you an extra 5% off all the music software deals available at audioplugin.deals. So what was the other ones? Damn, this is going to be a long podcast.
Well, that's not too bad. Right. Motley Crue. Motley Crue was on the list. And hey, let's face it. I mean, whether you love them or hate them or think that they're talented or not, I'm not a big fan of them nowadays. But I mean, oh my gosh, you had Shout of the Devil, you had Theater of Pain, you had Girls, 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 you had Dr. Feelgood. They had so many hits. So they were so popular, and they had a good sound back then. They knew how to do it, man. They knew how to do it. They were the epitome of rock and roll, party time, chicks. It was just, and I listened to the heck out of Dr. Feelgood. And Theater of Pain. I love those albums. They're just incredible.
Yeah, Dr. Feelgood and Girls, Girls, Girls. That was when I liked Crue, but I didn't listen to them until the 90s because, like I said, they had that satanic type of imagery and Shout at the Devil, Theater of Pain, with the pentagram, and nobody knew how to take them. They were wearing pentagrams on their garb and stuff. And it was like, oh man, these guys are.
They got out of that pretty quick, though.
Yeah, they did. I mean? It was a phase, but that was like when I kind of rode off Motley Crue until later on, and kind of found out what they're really about. Just partying and having fun. But yeah. So yeah, Crue. Okay, what's the next one?
It was on your list was Judas Priest, so we already covered that.
Okay.
And then the next one is one of my favorite bands of all time, and it's Van Halen.
Oh, Van Halen. See, I didn't include that because I was perplexed. Is that hard rock or is that metal? But I guess it's on the more, the early stuff is more on the metal kind of hard rock metal type.
Yeah.
Hot for Teacher, stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't pick up an issue of Hit Parader or Metal Edge or something and not see something about Eddie Van Halen, Guitar Player magazine. I mean, he was the epitome of that era. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I mean, definitely. It was just, Roth, it's right. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I was on the fence with that. I was really on the fence with that one. I'm glad you picked that because I was nervous about not having that on there.
Yeah, so Van Halen and 5150. I played that album. I'm not a big Sammy Hagar era fan, but I mean, when they parted ways with Dave and they had to put their nose to the grindstone and make a killer album, they did. And I mean, it's potentially one of their greatest albums, period. 5150, I listen to that constantly. Of course, I listen to 1984 constantly. There's so many good songs on there.
Yeah.
The next...
We'd be in PE class, and I think everybody back then, were in PE doing calisthenics or work, whatever they had to do. We were always doing it to jump,
Right.
They played that freaking. We loved it when they played that song. You know, we were just kids in grade school and we're playing jump and we're doing calisthenics or whatever. I can't even say the word. Dang it.
Calisthenics.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, but go. Okay, what's your next one?
Next one was Doc, and we already covered that.
Okay.
And then the next one is White Lion.
That almost made my list, but
yeah, I mean, Pride and Big Game, those albums were absolutely amazing. Same thing. It's just, I don't think they could get along. You know, it's one of those things where Vito Bratta and Mike Tramp couldn't get along, and so they kind of just dissolved. But prior to that, I mean, Pride. I mean, my gosh, you had Wait and Tell Me and When the Children Cry, and I mean, just I loved that album. Listened to it a lot. Little Fighter.
Yeah, those are great albums. Great albums. Is that it?
No, one last one.
Okay.
Cinderella.
Oh, I forgot about Cinderella, but I didn't listen to them a lot though. So.
Night Songs was good. I got into them obviously when Night Songs came out, but when Long Cold Winter came out with Gypsy Road and You Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone. Yeah. I mean, just Coming Home. I mean, that was an incredible album. I listened to it tons, and they were a unique band. I mean, he's definitely a different type of a singer. Mm-hmm. Nobody sounds like him. And he had a different style, but they were a great band.
Yeah, definitely.
And that wraps it up for my list.
All right. Well, let's. I'll just go through these kind of quickly since we're.
Dude, we can go all night.
I know.
Okay.
I know. So we covered Warrant, but Bon Jovi was another one of my favorites.
They got a couple good songs. I just didn't like what they stood for, which was, they were like a girl band. You know what I mean? That was the thing. It's like, it was just like, I think they made music to appeal to like girls.
Yeah. Well, they appealed to me.
You know what I mean? But I mean, he was just, he was all pressed up and he was on the magazine cover. And they weren't really they weren't a metal band in my opinion. I can't think of one heavy song they ever did.
Well, I mean, come on now. I mean, maybe not metal, but they're certainly in the Night Ranger and Van Halen category. I would say. I mean, they got, Living on a Prayer just kicks butt, and I don't know. There's a bunch of songs that I don't know.
I mean, they do have a handful of good songs. They do. I mean, but I think they're highly, highly overrated. I mean, okay.
Well, they made my list.
Well, I mean, I can respect your list.
All right. So here's one that made my list that not a lot of people probably know about, but it's Impellitteri. I listened to a lot of Impellitteri, Rob Rock. Didn't really like the debut album as much, that singer, but when Rob Rock joined them, really loved Impellitteri.
When did he join though?
Oh gosh, what was it? What?
I don't think he was with them in the 80s though.
Well, Stand in Line, that was the 88 one. Graham Bonnet, yeah, and I had that album.
Yeah, I have that one too. It stinks.
Yeah. And then it was Victim. Oh shoot! Did I get the dates wrong? Hold on a minute. Victim to the System was the next one, right? EP. That was 93. Oh shoot! I got my dates wrong, man. Oh, hell no.
Yeah,
okay, scratch
they
that.
Didn't. Yeah, they didn't even form till 87. So Stand in Line came out in 88.
Yeah, I mean, I got that album, but I really liked Chris Impelliteri's, guitar playing. It was just phenomenal.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I just wasn't a huge fan of Graham Bonet,
Golden Graham,
Bonet, whatever. He was in another band that I got too, and I can't remember what it is offhand. What was it? It wasn't a Pelletier, but it was something else.
Who, Graham Bonnet?
Yeah, Graham Bonnet.
He was in, it says right here, I don't really know a whole lot about him, but he was in Rainbow, Michael Schenker Group, Alcatraz, and a Pelletier.
Crap, I don't know. Now I'm embarrassed.
He's 75 years old. Good night.
Man, he's up there. Well, anyway, scratch that one. Oh, we'll just leave it for right now. Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of that back then.
Yeah, I did listen to Trilogy quite a bit. That was an amazing album.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll go through. Well, here's one I'm surprised wasn't on your list, but it was Guardian, Christian rock band. The debut was in 1989. I listened to the crap out of that because it was kind of like it reminded me of it was like a Christian Dokken album. You know, that's what it reminded me of. However, I don't think it holds up as well today as it did then.
No, I did like that album, but it didn't. It came out so late in the 80s that I did like it. I went right out and bought it because Oz Fox was involved in producing it and yada yada yada, and it had some good songs on there, but it just kind of got lost in the mix for me with so many other bands I was listening to at the time.
Yeah, and I'll say instead of. Because this was another one that I listened to a lot that came out in that same era, late 80s, or 89. I think it was 89 or 88. I don't know. Angelica's first album, which did have Rob Rock on it.
Did that come out in 89?
Oh, man. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
I love that album. Yeah, probably close to that. Yeah. I don't remember.
Oh, shoot, man. But I remember buying that one on a whim. And when I heard, the first track and Rob Rock's voice, I was like, oh, man, this is cool. This is really good. There's Only One Hero, that song.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, it was released 89, on Intense Records. So... But again, I mean, it's probably more 90s than 80s because it was the tail end of the 80s. And then Angelica released, a bunch of albums after that. But, okay, This is one that's definitely 80s.
Well, I mean, Angelica was in the 80s for sure.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But this is one that probably you forgot about. I'm not sure. But Badlands.
I did forget about them. And it's crazy because I listened to them a lot now.
Yeah. Because I remember you listened to it. I was like, is that Badlands? I was like, you were listening to them like what? Well, one of the in the background.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Come on now. You got to say he's one of the best vocalists.
Oh, no, he's amazing. Same thing. He's got a very unique, different voice, for sure. Yeah, I mean... I love Badlands and Voodoo Highway. I mean, I like it all, but I think it was definitely a better. The first album was better, I think.
Oh
in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the second album was good too, and the same thing. It was like they were just there was one of those bands like, what are they gonna do next, right? And then
because I mean they had. It was hard rock / borderline, it was metal, but it wasn't like super heavy metal, obviously. It was more bluesy. Right. Yeah. But Ray Gillen had just a phenomenal voice. And Jake E. Lee, a phenomenal guitar player that used to play for Ozzy?
Ozzy Osbourne.
And sadly, Ray developed HIV or AIDS.
Yeah.
And died at a young age.
Yeah, AIDS-related stomach cancer is what he died from.
And he got the disease, like 90? I mean, it was like...
Yeah, I mean, I forget when he died, but he died...
was it 93 maybe? 93, I think it was, yeah.
I just remember, hearing about it, and I was like, man, he looked so, healthy, you know? And
he had great hair.
But I had this home video... Badlands home video. It was called Dag the Giblets.
Oh my god!
and it was about them, recording the Voodoo Highway album. And as you look back on that video, it's on YouTube, by the way.
Oh, okay.
As you look back on it,
I gotta watch that.
now you can kind of see that there was something going on with the band and with Ray.
Really?
And I think at some point he said, Ray wasn't feeling very well, so he wasn't there for the interviews and stuff like that. And so it may have been...
How do you think he contracted it? Because it was so rare to contract it from, heterosexual relationships. So I don't know. Needles? I don't know.
I remember reading what... about it, and I want to say it was. I don't think he could pinpoint it, but it was both. I think he did both. I think he was doing. He had done drugs, and of course he was out and out messing around with chicks and stuff. So I mean, I don't know if they said, "Oh, this is." Definitely how he got it, but it says he died in 93. He first showed symptoms around 1990, and according to Jakey Lee, in between the first and second record, he started getting really thin and didn't look quite as healthy. Lee also claimed that he had not been aware of Ray's diagnosis with AIDS until a meeting with then Badlands manager Paul O'Neill, who threatened to tell Atlantic Records about Gillan's illness if he was fired by the band.
It was like 95. I got this album called Sun Red Sun. You ever heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great album, man. I don't know when they recorded that, but I think it had to be in the 80s. I would say. And then he was on another one called War Dance with Rodinelli.
Yeah, they put a lot of stuff out, like in a compilation thing. Didn't they take those Bobby Rodinelli, right? And they kind of put that all in that Sun Red Sun album. But then I think some of those got kind of mishmashed into the unofficial Badlands third release, which was called Dusk. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I haven't heard it in a long time though, but I'm pretty sure I have that one. But yeah, a great band, great singer. People should check them out.
So young too, man. 34 years old.
Oh my gosh, 34. Man, I can't imagine where he would have went to.
Yeah.
Jeez, the success he would have had. But anyway, even though I take a multivitamin, I also like to take superfoods. And the best superfood I found on the market that tastes just amazing is Brick House Nutrition Field of Greens. Real organic superfood. 1 scoop of Field of Greens gives you the full spectrum of colors with fruits, veggies, herbs, spices, and more. Helps with your overall well-being by aiding in antioxidation, lipid metabolism, and glucose metabolism. Since Field of Greens is made from real foods, it's technically not a supplement. This is just pure whole foods, guys, and you can get a discount right now by using coupon code HEALTHYLIFE. Just plug that coupon HEALTHYLIFE before checkout in the coupon section and get our exclusive discount. You have to try Field of Greens from brickhousenutrition.com. Okay, another band that I really loved was their debut. I mean, when I heard it, I was like hooked. It was Blue Murder. Do you remember them at all?
Yeah. I remember they had that song "Valley of the Kings."
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't get into them.
Yeah, I really liked that band. But one band that I did forget about that I probably listened to more. I listened to a lot more than them, and I totally left off my list was Europe, and they're kind of hard rock. But Europe was, I did play the crap out of that album a few times. So.
Yeah, I did too. There was just too many. There was too many to cram into 20. But yeah. I obviously, the final countdown was just amazing, and then they came out with "Out of This World," and the "Wings of Tomorrow" was prior to those two. Yeah, they had some good songs. Yeah. Joey Tempest is a pretty amazing singer.
Yep. And I'm gonna leave you. I'm not gonna say Poison because I did not get into Poison in the 80s, but it's a band that not a lot of people probably are going to expect. A band called TNT. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Tony Harnell.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan. It's not that I disliked him. I just never got in. I never really got into him.
Okay. Well, I liked him because he had a really nice high vocal range. I mean, it's just
Oh, he's a great singer.
Yeah, I really liked TNT back in the day. There's different levels of metal, There's
right.
Hair metal. There's
butt metal.
Yeah. Beer metal, or beer rock, I guess you could say. But like, we didn't include AC/DC in there.
I just never really liked them.
I didn't either because it was like the same. It was like the same thing over and over. I'll give them credit though. They do stick to their guns. Four on the floor, freaking just
hell yeah. And I always said, man, if I could get into a band like AC/DC playing that same old lazy drum beat, I would be happy as a pig in mud.
I know, and people loved it.
Yeah. I mean, and to face it, I mean, the Hell's Bells and Back in Black. I mean, they had some great songs. Right. It wasn't, I guess, intelligent enough for me. No, you know what I mean? No. It wasn't sophisticated. It wasn't musical enough for me.
And whenever you're at a wedding or a bar, you're gonna hear one of those songs.
Right.
I mean, it's like it's just gonna happen. And to me, I never got into them either. But there's a lot of great bands, a lot of just subgenres of metal, but it's just our opinions.
Yeah, and that's what we were into at the time.
Yeah. And we can't change anything. But that's what we listen to.
And I still listen to 90% of this list today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, but I've also moved on, and I've listened to a lot more different types of music and different types of metal bands.
Yes.
I mean, I listen to a lot more skilled metal bands now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it did. It just progressed from there, and that's what we'll cover on the next, our next episode, because I think the '90s really changed music for me, and it's not what people think. It's not Nirvana, it's not Soundgarden, it's not any of those bands personally for me, but it may be for you. I don't know, Lago. I mean, I haven't talked to you about it. So, but that's why I'm excited about doing the 90s, because there's a lot of stuff I'm gonna put on my list that maybe you haven't heard of, or maybe you have or forgot about or whatever. But so yeah, I'm excited about doing that one.
Yeah,
more so, So, but yeah, I mean that's it. That's our favorites. Not our favorites, but maybe some favorites and most listened to, at least in the 80s. So that covers.
I mean,
that.
And like I said earlier, in the 80s too. I mean, we were coming up into our high school, teenage years. The prime of our lives, the point of our lives when we were getting freedom and discovering what the world's really about. And so, you know, we were still kids.
Right.
And we were just excited to be a little bit rebellious and, you know, whatever. And so, he didn't really analyze a lot of the music he listened to like we would analyze it now.
Yeah.
But, hey, those bands at the time when I listened to them, it was great music and a lot of memories with all these bands that I listed.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot of memories. I mean, I think people take for granted how skilled a lot of those bands were. We'll get back to the movies, guys, but right now we had to kind of break our movie spree. We did cut away from the movies in a couple episodes with talking about technology and stuff like that, but yeah, it's good to talk about music because you know, with you, Lago, and me, it's one of our favorite topics. So
yeah,
it's fun to talk about. So
for sure, yeah.
And hopefully we can spur on some other people that maybe want to check out some bands they haven't heard of, and maybe they'll like them. You know,
I hope so. There's
a lot of good music out there that's definitely not played on the mainstream radio.
I haven't listened to the radio literally, and no exaggeration, in 20 years.
It hasn't gotten any better. That's for sure. Unless you're listening to Sirius XM, that's the only place that you're going to find that you can listen to like a genre music that.
But it's nothing new though. You know, it's just the stuff that, you know, yeah, because I had Sirius for a while, and you're listening to just the old classics. And whatever.
Depending on what channel you're on. But yeah, Hair Nation, they're gonna play all the classics, but they play some obscure stuff that I was surprised they played, you know, in that whole genre. But you know, you go to Octane or something like that, it's more, you know, modern heavy metal, and you'll hear stuff you never heard of, you know. But I've been turned on to a lot of new bands that way, but there ain't nothing better than YouTube to find your music, because I find new music all the time on YouTube. It's fascinating.
Yeah, because especially if you
discover, you know.
Yeah, you watch you watch a video of somebody that you wanted to see, and then the recommendations. There's tons of.
I mean, dude, we had to work so hard to find bands. You know, we had to waste so much money on music that we didn't even know of just by looking at the album covers and buying it because they look cool. And now you can just weed all that out and find, you know, a band without wasting any money, you know?
Yeah, I mean, nowadays you don't have to spend any money. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to buy anything.
That's true.
You can just you literally you can listen to anything you want to for a few pennies a day.
Yeah, true.
If you want to pay, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about you know, I subscribe to Amazon Music just because I don't know, I just want something where I can pick and choose music, make playlists, and I mean, everything that you could ever want
is on there.
Is on there for the most part. Not everything, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff I'd never heard of, and there's just so much now that I don't have enough lifetimes.
Oh, I know.
To listen to it all.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, slow down. I'm finding too much stuff I like. I was like, oh my gosh, it gets overwhelming sometimes. But it's like a drug. You're looking for the next new band or new release from a favorite band every year. I mean, that's what keeps me going, man. It's like, you know, they're gonna put out a new album this year. You know, it's I can't wait, you know, to hear it. I still get that same high, you know. It's great.
Yeah, not so much for me anymore, but
really, okay.
I you know, whenever I find myself getting excited about a new release, you know, I'll get it, and then you know, it's okay, and then I end up going back and listening to the older stuff. You know, it's.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we should wrap it up.
Dude, we can go all night.
I know we could go all night with this. I'm worried about the next podcast because we got a lot more. We're gonna have to go through the list pretty quickly because we're gonna have more bands on that one. Hey guys, do you want the ultimate iodine supplement? How about liquid B12? How about liquid turmeric in a herbal cold pressed tincture, never heated? The ultimate in detoxification. Pure, powerful, and potent liquid formulas in a raw herbal extract. Totally organic. Use our special coupon code HEALTHYLIFE at checkout at globalhealingorganics.com. Use coupon code HEALTHYLIFE. Yeah, I narrowed it down to 30.
You've already picked them already?
Yeah, so, well, yeah, for the most part, but I'll probably change it here and there. I got to get my dates right because I screwed up on a few of them here, a couple of them. I knew you were going to have some of the same bands, and I was like, well, it's going to happen.
Right.
Similar taste. So, but there was some that I was kind of like, should I add this one or not? I'm trying to remember what I listened to, but anyway, I don't know. Okay, enough rambling. All right, guys, thanks for listening to the Retro Media Talk podcast with our top 20 or so, I don't know, if top
right.
20 and some, our top metal bands of the 80s that we listened to. We're not saying they're the best. I'm sure we left out a few.
We did.
But that just wasn't what we may have been listening to at that time. And not to say that we didn't listen to it later. I mean, like a lot of those bands that you named off, I didn't listen to in the 80s, but I listened to later on. Fell in love with them, Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that just happens with time. And so anyway, enough of that. Thanks for listening, guys. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you can. We're on Spotify, Amazon Music, Anchor FM, which is owned by Spotify owns them, or vice versa. Anchor owns them. I don't know. And wherever you get your podcast app, just look for us on there. We should be on there. We're on most places. So that's it. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later. Anything else, Lago?
Nope, nothing at all. We'll just be, I'll be ready to do the 90s next week.
All right, go rock it out, guys. Jam some heavy metal. Talk to you soon.